there, happy Mother's Day. I am making today a Strawberry Rhubarb Crisp in just kind of memory of my grandmother. I was reminiscing about just food memories, and something that my grandmother loved to make was a strawberry and rhubarb pie. She was an amazing pie maker. Me, not so much. So we're going to do a crisp today, which takes the whole thing of pastry out of the equation, and it couldn't be more simple. I don't know if you've cooked with rhubarb before. So this is rhubarb. It kind of looks like red celery. It is not at all like that. It is a vegetable. If you've ever seen it growing, it becomes a huge plant. It's actually called the pie plant, but it has these stalks that come up and then these huge green leaves, which are actually toxic, so you don't want to eat those, but the stalks are fine. They are extremely sour, so most people don't eat them raw, but they are delicious cooked. And so even though it's a vegetable, it's used as a fruit, and when you cook it down, it just becomes this lovely, really smooth it can be used in jams, it can be used in pies, crisps. You can stir it into yogurt, which is delicious, overnight oats. You can put it into breads and muffins. So it's delicious, and the time of year that you can get it is it's April through June, and whenever I see it in the market, I stock up on it. So, and if you can't find it in your grocery store, you can ask them to order. You can order it and have them bring it in, or you can actually find it at your farm stands as well right now too. But you might have to ask for it. I think it's kind of a forgotten thing, but I want to bring it back. I think it's delicious. So what we're going to do today, so you need to make this, it couldn't be more simple. You need about a 9 by 11 pan that's greased. I've already greased this pan. And for the topping, all you need is 3/4 cup of flour, and we're going to do that right now. It comes together super quick. So 3/4 cup of flour, and about, I think this was a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and a pinch of salt, and 1 stick of chilled butter that has been cubed. And then we are just going to pulse it until it just comes together as crumbs. It helps if I plug it in and then not have it turned on. Okay, I'm ready now. So now we're going to pulse it. It doesn't take long. It comes together pretty quickly. The same process as a pie crust, but so much easier. And then right at the end, we're going to pour in our oats, which is a 1/2 cup. Just stick that in, and a couple pulses, because you don't want to break up the oats too much. You don't want them to keep their shape. So I think that's about right. So, oops. So you can see it's kind of crumbly, but if you squeeze your hand together like that, it'll stick. If you want it to come together a little bit more, you could put a little bit of, like a couple drops of ice water in there, and it'll make it more clumpy. But right there, that'll be totally fine. Another optional ingredient on the top is some nuts. I have some walnuts here, so that's going to go on afterwards. I'll chop some of these up and put those on top once we get everything all done. So that is that for the topping. Now I'm going to work on these ingredients. So I'm going to cut the rhubarb into 1-inch pieces, and then I'm going to hull and quarter the strawberries, and once that is done, I'll show you what's next. So next part of the process, I have all the strawberries hulled and quartered, and I'm just going to put it to those as well as the rhubarb. which has been sliced into about 1-inch slices into our bowl. This is the perfect time to do a crisp like this. You know, you can make a crisp with so many different types of fruit and whatever is in season. In summer, berries make a lovely one. You can do a mixed berry, you can just do blueberry, you can do apple in the fall. I love like an apple cranberry crisp as well. You can do a peach crisp, is delicious, a plum crisp. So really it's just the ratios. You just switch the fruit out for the same ratio and use the other ingredients the same. So you just swap out whatever fruit is in season. And it's so good. So we have our fruit. The next thing we're going to do is add a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, 1/4 cup of flour. That's just going to kind of help thicken it as the juices start to release when it cooks. It's going to help so it doesn't become so runny. And then this is the juice of the oranges. So just stir that up. Your hands are the best tool. Okay. And already, just with that little bit of stirring, it's going to start to release all of those juices. It's going to be delicious. So smooth it around. Little hand wash. And then it's time to put the crumble on. So you just pour this on, take out the little metal thing. I usually forget, and then it usually dumps into the mix. And if you want, you can kind of start to grab it with your hands a little bit and get it into those clumps, which I kind of like. And then just begin to sprinkle them over the top. Couldn't be easier. This is probably my favorite kind of dessert. It somehow feels healthy because it's fruit. It's how I justify it. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then you could just leave it like this. The recipe does have some nuts that you can put on. I happen to have some walnuts, and I'm going to use this about a 1/4 cup. You could use any kind of, you could use almonds, hazelnuts, anything like that. And just give them a rough chop. It just adds a little bit more texture, which is kind of nice, especially as the fruit sort of cooks down and gets soft. And then that crumble, there's going to be that kind of crisp texture of that, but then the crunch of the nut, I think, is a really nice extra bit of deliciousness. Okay. And then into the oven at 350 degrees for about 40 to 45 minutes. You want to check it depending upon how hot your oven runs. But when you start to see the juices bubbling and the top is nice and golden brown, that's when it's ready to take out. So I'm going to stick it in. Okay, here it is in all its glory. Can you see that? The juices are they've just been bubbling away in the oven. The crisp is nicely browned. Those nuts have been toasted. The strawberries and the rhubarb have just softened down and melded together into this beautifully sweet, tart deliciousness. And in combination with this crumbly top, and the crisp nuts. I think it's a combination that can't be beat. We can top it with a little bit of powdered sugar just to gild the lily. You can serve this with vanilla ice cream, a little softened whipped cream, or just like this, Strawberry Rhubarb Crisp. I think Grandma would be proud. Happy Mother's Day, ladies.